Hi everyone, welcome back to another Yarntopia tutorial. Today we are talking all about circles and learning how to make them. I've just got some double knit wool and a 4mm hook, which is my preferred favourite. There's lots of different brands of hooks around. I like these ones with the nice comfy grip, and the double knit that I happen to have at the moment is just a James C. Brett baby double knit. Super soft is the brand. So circles are fantastic for doing lots of different things with. You can turn them into table mats once you have understood how they go together. You can turn them into hats. This process is also how you start off things like amigurumi and toy making. So we're just going to jump straight in with a magic ring, or if you're not comfortable using the magic ring, you can do a chain 2 and work all the stitches into the first chain. So I'm just going to start with my magic ring. And we are going to do 8 double crochet. So that's US terminology, don't forget, that's what I work in. UK terminology, that would be a treble. So I chain 2 to start, and this for me counts as my first double crochet. Now some patterns you'll find, especially like for hat making and things like that, some patterns will count this and some won't, so please make sure that you check when you're going to start using patterns as to whether you're counting it or not. It does change things a little bit. I am counting in this instance, so this would be 1. So I'm going to do another 7 double crochet into my ring. If you are using a chain 2 start, you would just put all 8 of your double crochet into the chain 1. Let's just see how many we have there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to do 2 more just to get us up to 8. Okay, so there we have 8 double crochet into that ring. And we're going to pull on our tail end and we're going to tighten that ring up. And then we're just going to give it a bit of a wiggle round, and at the top of my initial chain 2 I'm just going to slip stitch to finish off my first round. So we've got 8 double crochet right there. So the key with making circles and getting them to lay flat is how we do our increases. So this number 8 that we've started with, this is going to be important for us because we're going to have to increase every round by 8 stitches until it's the size that we're happy with. Now this starting round you can do in lots of different sizes. It doesn't matter how many stitches you start with, it's about how we increase them, and we're increasing always by the starting number. So for us, we've started with 8. So our next round, we need 16 stitches. We're going to do that with a chain 2, which counts as our first stitch. And right in that same space where we joined, we're going to do another double crochet. And we're going to move over to our next stitch and we're going to put 2 double crochet into that same stitch. So every stitch we've got, we're going to do 2 double crochet into it. So we're going to have increased by 8 stitches, giving us a total of 16 for the round. So you're just going to work your way around, 2 double crochet in each stitch. When we get to the last stitch, we're just going to do what we did before, and we're just going to slip stitch join to the top of our starting chain 2. Now, when you get almost all the way around, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to figure out which was your last stitch, because where we slip stitch, we get this little sort of like half stitch here. And sometimes people don't realise and they work into that stitch. But what that does is that gives you more stitches than you need for the round. So if you're never quite sure, you can always just go back and count your stitches just to check. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I have my 16 stitches. So I would just find the top of my chain 2 and slip stitch to join the round, and that's round 2 complete. So this round had 8 stitches and this one now has 16. Excuse me, sorry. Unfortunately, it's really sunny where I am at the moment, and my hay fever has decided it's going to be very unfriendly to me for the last few days. So I do apologise for any coughs or sneezes that may happen. So back to our circle. 8, 16. So our next round would be 24. And the way we do that is by increasing every other stitch. So every second stitch. So we would start with a chain 2. And that counts as stitch number 1. And then in our next stitch along, we would do 2 double crochet. And we repeat that process all the way around. So this would be 1 double crochet and 2 double crochet in the next stitch. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet in the next stitch. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet in the next stitch. Back to 1 double crochet and then 2 double crochet in the next stitch. So if you guys want to work your way around following that process, you can pause it here and I will meet you at the end of the round. Okay guys, so here we are at the end of round 3, and I've just slip stitched to join the end of my round like we did before. And this round has 24 double crochets. Now, don't worry if at the moment it isn't laying perfectly flat. We are moving this round quite a lot when we work, and we're constantly turning it and we're constantly moving it. It will smooth out as you go, and if need be, you can give it a little press when you're finished, or you can block it. That's completely up to you, depending on how big you intend to take your circle. So what we do for our next round, for round number 4, is we move apart those increases a little bit further this time again. So we're going to add another 8 stitches. So this round will end with 32 stitches. So last round we had a single and then a double, a single and then a double. So this time round we're going to do a single in the first 2 stitches, and then in the 3rd stitch we are going to increase it by adding that double. So we're going to start with our chain 2 again, and that counts as our first stitch, don't forget. So in our next double crochet along, we're again only going to do 1 double crochet. And then in our 3rd stitch, we're going to do 2 double crochet, which counts as our increase. Some patterns will just tell you where to increase, and that just means adding that extra double crochet right there. So that is the repeat for this round. Just 1, just another 1, and then 2. So it's 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, all the way around, so that we end with 32 stitches for this round. That's my 2, and then this one would be my increase stitch, which means I'm going to put 2 double crochet all into that same space. So you're going to work your way around just like that. So this one would be 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and then 2 double crochet in that 3rd one. And repeat that all the way around, and I will join you at the end of this round. So that's the end of round 4, and again I've just slip stitched join to finish the round. So that's pretty much everything that you need to know about making a circle. It's moving that process 1 stitch further apart every time. So we start with our stitches in the middle. We did 2 double crochet in every stitch, so that was an increase in every stitch around for round 2. Round 3, we moved those increases apart a little bit. So we had a normal 1 double crochet in 1 stitch, and then in the next stitch we did our increase, so it's 2 double crochets, and we repeated that all the way around. So 1 double crochet, then 2 in the next, 1 double crochet, 2 in the next. On the next round we did a double crochet in each of the first 2 stitches, and then on our 3rd stitch is where we added our increase. So on the next round, you would just follow that same pattern. So the first 3 stitches this time would be just a normal double crochet. And in the 4th stitch, that's where we would add our increase, which would be to put 2 double crochet in that stitch. And we'd repeat that all the way around. If we wanted to go even bigger, then the next round, we would do exactly that same thing. So instead of having 3 stitches in between each of our increases, we would have 4 stitches, and so on and so on. And you can make this as big or as small as you want. You can have a play about with sort of how many stitches you start with in the middle, as long as you always remember to move those increases 1 stitch further apart every round, and that you're always adding your total by what you started with. So at the end of every round, you've added 8 stitches from the round before, or if you start with 10, it would be 10. If you started with 6, it would be 6. Now, these are great for making like beanies and hats and things, and you can play about with this. And just a quick note for you, what you're looking for is for your circle to be excuse me again, I'm so sorry, your circle to be the diameter that you want the hat. So basically measuring your own head, for example, or a family member, a child, etc. And you make your circle until it is as wide as you need it. And then the only thing you do, just to make a basic beanie, is you stop adding your increase stitches. You stop adding those extra crochets. So for example, here, if I worked this circle until it was, say, 60 stitches for the last round, I would then just continue doing rounds of 60 stitches until I had the length that I was happy with for it to be a hat. That's it. That's how easy basic beanies are. And it's just this process, this circle process, to get you started. Like I said before, you can use this to make coasters, you can make placemats. This technique of increasing is one of the starting things that most people learn when they're looking at amigurumi and toy making, which is something that we are going to cover in one of our tutorials. We're going to cover the basics of amigurumi. but this process is good to know prior to that. So thank you very much for watching, guys. That was my introduction to a crocheted circle. Have fun. As always, if you want to drop a picture of anything you create in the comments on my Facebook page, I will make sure the link is in the description. If you have anything that you would like to see me make a tutorial on, just drop me a message and we'll have a look at it. And as always, happy crocheting, guys.